Lord Cassius Hathur had been ever present in my mind from the time I was born there to my ignominious return, and the image I always pictured was the same. A towering man in his 50s who remained as fit as he was in his youthful prime, a soldier who wore armor at all times, an implacable lord fit for his legend. The picture held sway my entire life, as the times my father allowed me outside. I could only glimpse him from a distance during the rare times he mingled among the townsfolk. The image was so pervasive that, in that terrifying moment, I swore I saw such a figure standing in the doorway, framed by the faint light of the fires in the cavern beyond. If the man who stepped within the extended glow of Alistair's lantern was ever robust and handsome, that time was long gone. He was almost as wide as he was tall, his unblemished armor inlaid with white enamel strained against the bloat, bulging in the gaps between plates, and floppy golden curls were combed to cover his encroaching baldness. Caked in thick makeup, his round face was pale white, save for beady blue eyes and bright blue lips. My bafflement was eclipsed by an even uglier sight. Bishop accompanied him. I looked up from the Lord to my former mentor, who wore the same cowed, ashamed look he'd given when I confronted him in the chapel. Only now there was no crowd to distract him. Seeing my mentor powerless in the presence of his own father left me empty and hopeless. I traveled from Hathur to the holy city and back, and nothing had changed.
"My lord, apologies,"
Alistair stammered while he backed away and bowed profusely.
"I did not expect you quite so soon."
Lord Hathur ignored his servant, hiked up the white dress he wore, and bent down to address me.
"Your name is Faron," he said, as if he were the one informing me. "Alistair tells me you were sent aboard the sinking ship besmirching my harbor. That it was in fact the ship the church sent against me. 4 shooting stars accompanied you to investigate, 4 capable soldiers. Tell me, why a cross-dressing child like you managed to return alone?"
I stared back defiantly, not at the Lord, but at Bishop, wondering what roiled behind his blank mask. Had he already known that I was a girl? Had he kept my secret all these years? Or was he just as ignorant as everyone else? So much would change if I knew the answer. But I never shall.
"Don't look at him," Lord Hathur commanded. "Look at me."
I was caught between trained deference and bemused revulsion. I glared at him, threw caution aside with my next words. "You look like a clown." Alistair grabbed my ear and twisted.
"Watch your tongue in front of your savior!"
Lord Hathur looked down on me.
"What does that make you, girl? Your kind is forbidden in the holy city by the very church you serve."
"The church has burned people at the stake for less," Alistair grinned. I implored Bishop silently, pleading with my eyes. Rather than keep my gaze, he bent his head and closed his eyes as if in prayer. With tears welling, I'm ashamed to say, I begged. "Bishop, please, help me."
"There is no bishop here," Lord Hathur said, then prodded his son. "Is there?"
Bishop's blue eyes were scrunched and sorrowful.
"My name is Cassius Hathur, like my father before me."
I can't explain what came over me next. It said the sole creator created humans to rule over all other creatures, that we were to be as superior to beasts as our God was to us. But I know no description other than to say an animal inside me was loosed, and all sense of civility fell away in a primal rush of rage and wrath. I wrenched my ear from Alistair's bony grip, leapt at the crippled bishop, and attempted to claw his eyes out. He tumbled backward in surprise, hands over his face, and I kneeled on his chest, clawing and screaming, "Liar! Liar!" over and over again, calling him the only title that kept the pain of his betrayal at bay. Lord Cassius Hathur, the so-called hero, his eldest son, Cassius Hathur, Bishop, father twisting child into a warped reflection, destroying everything they were or could be in the process. The Lord's guardsmen tore me away, thrashing and snarling, as my captors tied my hands behind my back. I heard Lord Hathur chuckling, then his men forced me onto my knees, and his pasty face loomed in mine.
The only reason you're still alive is because my namesake demanded it, and you gave him claw marks as a reward. This is why mercy is for fools.
When he said fools, I remembered Maggie saying the word too, only her fools were the holy men and women who Lord Hathur ignorantly appropriated and twisted to suit his ends. She was right, I thought. She saw Bishop clearer than I ever could. Why didn't I listen? The Lord eclipsed the fallen bishop like a round, fleshy moon.
My bastard tells me you're from Hathur, Faron. If that's true, then you must have heard of the Zarak, yes? What you don't know is that they painted their faces like this during festivals to celebrate divine authority. I once attended such a celebration under the guise of diplomacy. I witnessed their holiest being treated as gods on earth. And during the festival, their every demand had to be fulfilled, their every whim satisfied, and every decree obeyed. Then they began to worship me.
He was absolutely serious. I remember thinking, they weren't celebrating divine authority. They were mocking kings. And you.
In Yorgos, there can only be the sole creator, he continued. The one and only, he from whence all else flowed, the all-loving Sky Father. The church would have you believe I conquered Hathur because he ordained my conquest, and thus it was right and just. But your priesthood did not fight the wars here. I did. There was no invisible hand at play, no holy destiny or grand design to the carnage, no sense to the madness at all. When a Zarak I captured told me of the Deadlights, finally I understood. Either an all-loving creator does not exist, or he is not all-loving. He is malevolent, vindictive, judgmental, merciless. The Deadlights, the Pale King.
He was trying to scare me into obedience, just like when my father instilled his lessons. Why are you telling me this, was all I could manage. He snapped his fingers, waited while hidden service produced a chair for him to sit in, sat and leaned in close, his voice almost a whisper.
Because according to both my bastard and a survivor of that ship of yours, you've seen him.